Are you ready to redefine your path? Today, we're going to explore the transformative power of sacrifice for change. In our busy lives, we often struggle between what we want and what we do. Join us in this episode as we embrace the messy journey of change, let go of the past, and discover the courage to prioritize you. Stick with us. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I am your host, John Espinosa. I am your host, John Espinosa, to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. We are wrapping up the season of change. And one of the ironic things about this season, normally here in October in Oklahoma, it gets cold. It was 90 degrees today. The wind was blowing, 30, 40 miles an hour out of the south. And I normally do these real talks, just a raw kind of cut of what I think, my final thoughts on a season outside on the patio, but it's too windy out there. So what are we going to do? We're going to improvise. We're going to bring it back into the studio, and I am going to have an open, honest conversation as we really put a closure on this season, and we're continuing to talk about how we're going to sustain change. So one of the things that I always get in the folks that I coach, the people that I talk to, John, I'm busy. I have a busy life, raising a family. I'm in charge of a business. I got to take care of my employees. Things are coming in. I'm going to school and I'm working. I got a lot of things going on. And I totally understand where you are coming from. Trust me, I've been there. I've been where I can't even take a breath. I'm doggy paddling because things are just coming at you. You're reacting to the world, and that's okay. That's all right. That is a season of life that you are in. And when we talk about making changes, sometimes you're just making ends meet. You're just able to sustain the pace that you are currently in, and that's okay. When we talk about change, there are certain times in my life where I was forced to change, whether it was the restaurant closing its doors, whether it was a dream job that I wanted. There was no way that I was going to get there. Whether it was the fact that I was a young parent and I was still going to school and I had to grow up pretty quick. Whatever that is in your life, if you are forced into change, I completely understand that you are in the thick of it and you may not be able to see out of it. But I promise you, there is light on the other side. Our busy lives create those experiences. So when we're not so busy, when we can take a breath, when we can reflect, it makes those times all more special, all more memorable in our life. And if you haven't experienced one of those times, they're coming. And I'm here to help. A lot of times we fill our lives, our time during the day with tasks that aren't adding value to where we want to be. A lot of you out there, I know, have big visions and big goals. You wouldn't be listening. You wouldn't be spending your time, your busy life listening to this podcast if that wasn't the case. So first of all, I want to say I applaud you. Kudos for you for taking a little bit out of your busy day, especially to listen to this podcast. There is nothing more special than you all taking the time to listen to me, and I want to provide value. So today, I really want you to take a look at the things on your plate, the to-dos on your list, the change that you want to make, and ask yourself, am I too busy? Am I really too busy for change? Life, unfortunately, sometimes never gets less busy. We had our third child later on in life, our first two kids. We were young. We had kids, 2 children under the age of 2 before I was 21. And we were working, going to school. We didn't know any other life outside of that. So we'd always plan on having a child outside of that time, thinking that we would have more time. And guess what? It doesn't get any slower. You just put other things in the place of work. We're going to wrestling matches. We used to be in gyms all weekends. Now we're in soccer games, driving, which now that I look back at those times, I cherish them. They were one of the best times in my life as a parent. And I get to enjoy the time now with our third child and really be present and take a step back. And anytime we're traveling, anytime I get to watch him play and he's out there on the field, it is a special, memorable time for me. So your time will come. And I understand that we have a lot of things to do. do and overfill our plates sometimes, and we feel like there's no room to change. So today I'm going to talk about why you need to prioritize yourself to sustain that change that I know you want to make. So let's dig into the content today. Sacrifice. When we talk about sacrifice, this word a lot of times comes up when we are going through a challenge. We are going through a difficult time in our life, and we have to sacrifice something to get what we want. But I want to flip that camera around. I want to flip that script for this episode, and I want to use the word sacrifice to mean, what are you going to sacrifice so that way you can prioritize yourself? What needs to come off of our plates so that way we can sustain the change? Remember, we got to create that capacity and then fill it with our routine. That routine is going to lead us very small and incrementally to the change that we want to make. Don't overcomplicate this thing, but you need to determine what you are going to sacrifice in order for you to sustain the change that you want to achieve. So many people want to change. Many people want things in their lives. It may be, I want more money. I want financial freedom. I want more time so that way I can spend with my family. I want more employees so my business can grow. I want to make better grades in school so that way I have every opportunity to be what I want to be. Want, though, is not even half the battle. Wanting something and taking action to get it are two totally separate things. And that's what separates a lot of the successful people that I have been around and that I've had the opportunity to coach, is they take action on their wants. So let's dig into that. Maybe you want to start that new side gig. You got your daytime job, but you're looking to make a little extra income and you want to start that side gig. You want to get out there on social media. You want to market yourself. You want to market whatever you're trying to sell, your process or your course or your craft, whatever that may be. A lot of you out there, you have a lot of things that you do that other people, I promise you, they're interested in. There are 8 billion people on the internet, and you just need a sliver of those to change your life. So that side gig that you want, take action on it. Figure out what day one looks like, get your game plan, put it into action, and then don't miss 2 days in a row. Stick with it. That new job that you've been talking about. I want a new job. I want something better for myself, for my family. I'm working a lot of hours and I want to find something that I can make money at, but also have some time freedom. So what are you doing and willing to sacrifice to get there? Are you willing to sacrifice maybe a job that doesn't get you excited, but it allows you the time freedom that you want with your family? Are you willing to sacrifice your years of experience in a certain field, in a certain craft, to maybe do something totally different? I wanted to go to medical school. I worked in a restaurant. I was in an athletic department. I worked in the emergency room of a hospital. And guess where I ended up? In training, in coaching, in education. That is something that I would have never thought. But because of my customer service experience, because of the fact that I loved to help people, that's what makes me good at what I do. And that's not to be braggadocious, but there are things along our journey of life and there's sacrifices that I had to make and give up on a dream, but it opened up the door to other possibilities. And the dream of time freedom, the dream of helping others get to where they're going, now I'm realizing that. I'm living that. I always wanted to be able to do it, and I didn't know the path I was going to take and the sacrifices that I was going to make to get here, but trust me, they were well worth it. So figure out what you want and then write down the sacrifice that you are going to have to make to take action to get there. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Whatever change that you want to make, and maybe you've already implemented that change and you're on down the road and you're not where you want to be. Have you sacrificed enough? There aren't a lot of successful people out there that have not sacrificed a tremendous amount, that have not stayed up at night, that have not wanted to quit, but they outlasted everybody else because they were willing to continue their sacrifice, stay consistent to achieve that dream of changing and getting to where they wanted to go. In the end, people can want all they want, but until they take action, that's when they're on the path to change. One of the things that I've done specifically with this podcast, and I've taken on this theme, this mantra in my life and other things that I've done since I've started and kicked off this, is to do it messy. I used to wait until everything was perfect. I used to wait until I was at least 90% certain that I was going to be successful in whatever I did or whatever I was wanting to try was going to work. And I had to have that 90% confidence rating before I even began. But with this has taught me to do it messy. Getting in front of this camera, pushing record, sharing my experiences with you all has created a new me. And it's because I did it messy. And when you let go of the fact that you're going to fail, that is the most powerful thing. That now, I'm getting chill bumps because now I know I'm going to fail. But I also know that I'm willing to sacrifice time with my family. Some of the things that I enjoy doing, watching sporting events on television, going outside, spending time with friends. Those things I'm willing to sacrifice in order to achieve the dream because I'm willing to do it messy. So are you willing to do it messy? Are you willing to just put yourself out there? The question I always ask myself is, what if this works out? A lot of people stop at what if, ... Don't stop there. What if this works out? What if the change that you make works out? What if that new business, that new side gig that you want to start, it works out and you're able to make that little extra income to help pay off bills, to help pay back your student loans, to help go on a vacation? Or maybe it's just so you don't have to work as hard on your 9-to-5 job so you can spend a little bit more time doing the things that you want to do. So ask yourself, what if it works out? I'll share a quick story with you today. I had a couple things this morning that didn't quite go my way, and I was really questioning myself, kind of questioning my leadership ability, questioning, what could I have done differently? And I got in my vehicle, put my phone on the charger, was rolling down the road. I started the car. I was outside, probably the 5-mile radius of where I work, and it's quiet. I'm just thinking, kind of reflecting back. And for those of you that are Journey fans, Journey the band, I don't have any playlists, but Journey, all of a sudden on my phone, call it divine intervention, the song Don't Stop Believing popped up and it just started playing. Like I was listening to a podcast early in the morning, so I had the phone, it was synced Bluetooth, but that song just popped on. It just played that song and then it played some other random things that were on my phone, but it was just one of those things that sometimes we just have to keep the faith. When the cards are stacked against us, when everything seems to not go our way, we've made all those sacrifices, and I hear you out there, John, I can't sacrifice anymore. I've already sacrificed everything. I've drained my savings. I've sacrificed my time. I'm focused. I've gotten rid of all the distractions. There is nothing else that I can sacrifice. What I have to say to you today is sometimes we just have to keep the faith. Sometimes Don't Stop Believing pops on the radio and you just sit there and listen. I was in awe. I actually pulled over on the side of the road. I was safe. I made sure. And I just sat there because I was losing faith in myself. I was losing faith in my ability to lead others, to prevent things from happening. But in the end, it wasn't my fault. I did everything I possibly could have done to prevent. Outside of bad things just happen sometimes. People make mistakes. But the moral of the story is keep the faith and don't stop believing. So here's what I want to leave you all with. And, one of the things when we talk about sustainment of change and getting started is a lot of times we don't have the confidence to make that change and then to sustain that change. We get into the change and our confidence isn't there. Remember, you're a beginner. And even if you've tried to change and it's the same thing, right? You've tried dieting and now you're back into dieting, or you've tried a business or a side gig and it didn't quite go your way. It just wasn't the right timing. And now you don't have that confidence because in the back of your mind, you're telling yourself, hey, I failed at this last time. These are the things that happened. Most times you need to have the courage to stick with it, to sustain that change, and the confidence will come because as you experience going through that process, as you experience failures along the way, as you experience sacrifice, as you experience the good times, the ups of that change journey where you jump on that scale and you're down 5 pounds, that is the courage piece that you all need to make sure that, guess what? I can do this. And then that confidence, that's why we celebrate the small wins because it builds that confidence, but it's going to come, but it won't be there in the beginning. There aren't too many people going back to doing it messy that are 100% confident or 90% confident that whatever they're going to do is going to work out. So again, you need that courage to get going and the confidence will come. I hope this has helped somebody today. If somebody that you know may be struggling with sustainment of change, or maybe they have sacrificed a lot, maybe they're at that breaking point where they don't have anything else, do me a favor and share this podcast with them. Tell them to keep the faith. Remember, Don't Stop Believing by Journey still running through my head right now, and I smile now every time I think about that. I just have one last parting ask of all of you listening today. Change for you. I believe in you. Go be great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.